Okay, they should be able to hear us now. Mendy will confirm if he can hear us. Let us go. And we forgot something very important. Guys, we'll be with you in about a few seconds. Well, now we will be able to see. Sorry we're late, guys. We had to scramble last second because, oh, look.
It's not focused.
Yeah, it's not focused. Like I said, we had to scramble last second, so we're kind of doing our best over here. It's all you can do. Yeah, okay. Here you can see Baruch Hashem. Oh, okay. So thanks to God. You can move over if you want to. If you don't want to, you don't have to. No one's forcing you.
Want to be more centered?
Yeah, if you want to. It's a no big deal. Okay, everybody. So, Parshas Lech Lecha. This looks to be in focus. Okay. So, Odella, you're going to be my eyes. Guys, you're going to see the process from behind the scenes. So, Odella, you're going to sit.
Maybe I should focus it.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Do it, please. Thank you.
Sure. Is that good?
Looks like it's fine, yeah. Looks like it's okay.
Is that better?
Whatever looks most in focus there will probably...
Looks good to me. I don't know.
Okay, people. Let's get it going. One last thing is that I need to find... No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, sorry guys. We were supposed to do it in the barber shop, and then last second we couldn't do it there, and so we're here. And why am I getting up? This is why I'm getting up. I'm getting up because I have to find my notes, and my notes
Like so chill, not
right here. Okay.
not formal.
Yes, very not formal, but actually somebody told me he likes the fact that it like
Like
he
family.
made it
Like,
sound like there's no effort put into it, which that wasn't such a compliment, but I think I put in a lot of effort. But maybe
you put in a lot of effort.
maybe
Maybe
more
the
effort.
natural.
Maybe more effort could be put into the production end. But anyway, so what we are... Oh, you don't want people to see your nose?
Yes, it's awkward.
Stop. Okay. So, Parshas Lech Lecha. Guys, I want to just say, as you will see on the title of the video, there is... It's incredible to see how the Parsha, from when this thing started, from Simchas Torah, when we literally read the Torah, we start reading Parshas Bereshis, the first pasuk in the Torah. Last week, Parshas Neach, and then also Parshas Lech Lecha this week, you could see direct connections that show about who really has the rights to Eretz Yisrael as a homeland, and who, and the whole story of Avraham Avinu and how he was promised the land of Eretz Yisrael. We'll point that out later. I had some thoughts, even though it's not something. I just saw certain similarities in this week's parsha that I thought were incredible. So basically, the parsha starts with Avraham Avinu, Hashem telling Avraham Avinu, "Go, right, Lech Lecha." There's a lot of different explanations on what that means, but Hashem says, "Go for yourself to Eretz Yisrael," and he goes with light, and we have the story of how light was captured, and the story of the 4 kings, right, versus the 5 kings, and the story of Sarah being captured. in the palace of Parai. Right, we already start to see all the tests that Avram have. But we're going to get into a few of the things that the Pasuk talks about. So, in just something interesting, in the Gemara Maseches Yevamos, you with me?
Yeah, 1 second. No, leave it, please.
I think it's good. I want the plant in there.
So pull up the plant forward.
That's funny. Guys, you're just getting more value here. You should know that.
Is that good?
It's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Now I could sit.
Okay, so in Maseches Yevamos in the Gemara, it says that if somebody doesn't have a child for 10 years, it makes sense that he should divorce his wife and obviously give her a ksuba, right? Because at the end of the day, she didn't do anything wrong to him. She has to pay her the ksuba. The ksuba is, in case somebody is unaware, is the document that says that if somebody divorces his wife, he has to give her a certain amount of money, he has to give her security, right? And that was done in order so people wouldn't just divorce their wives and that's it. And the reason is because maybe he didn't merit to have children from her. So I just want to point out, first of all, that it's very interesting to see that it's not, God forbid, blaming the wife for saying it, it's anybody's fault. He didn't merit to have children with her. In other words, he has to find a way to have a child with somebody else. And therefore, he can divorce her. But the reason why this is brought is because we see that actually Avram Avinu was married to Sarah for longer than 10 years when they didn't have children, before he took Hagar, right? He took his second wife much after 10 years. And from here, the Gemara says that you can see that it's only talking about in Eretz Yisrael. Because if you look at when Avram Avinu came into Eretz Yisrael and when he left, and when he took Hagar as a second wife, you can see that was 10 years. That is the amount of 10 years. So that shows you that this whole 10-year thing only is in Eretz Yisrael. So the question is why? So Rashi explains that it could be that because there's this idea that if somebody has the opportunity to live in Israel, in Eretz Yisrael, and he doesn't, it's almost like a sin. And therefore, it could be he's lacking in merit. Why it says maybe he should. It says that he can divorce her because he didn't merit to have a child with her. But if somebody lives outside of Eretz Yisrael, it could be they didn't merit to have a child, not because of anything in their marriage, but because they're not living in Eretz Yisrael.
Really?
So that shows the importance of living in Eretz Yisrael. Yeah.
Does it say how it would affect, like, why they would have a child if they do versus don't?
No, it's just explaining that not living in Eretz Yisrael is not exactly the best thing. So, and it's just there's other opinions, but I just wanted to bring this because it was quite interesting. Now, we're going to talk about the part where Sarah, so what happens, right? Avram Avinu gets to, is this Gemara lahalacha? First of all, I'm going to show the chat for a second. So, it only shows new comments. Aha. So we have to leave the...
Leave it open.
No, I could actually show this comment right here. Learning the software, guys. Yeah, so the question over here is, it's being asked, is this Gemara al-Halacha, right? So first of all, I don't think it's really something that's really done nowadays. Technically, if a person, again, you have an obligation to have children, so technically you could say that it's permissible to do now, but I don't know. What's interesting is that in times of Gemara, technically you're allowed to have more than one wife. Nowadays, it's not an option. I just find it interesting that the Gemara even mentions he should, let go of his wife instead of just saying to marry another woman. But I guess there's also, even in the times you're allowed to have a wife, it had to be with the consent of
the first wife.
Or I don't know if it had to be, but it's very much recommended that it should be done with
Like out of respect.
Yeah, and you see that Sarah was the one who told Avram Avinu to marry another wife. But anyway, so thank you for that question, Mandy. Next thing. We're going to talk about, what happens? Avraham Avinu and Sarah have to go to Mitzrayim, I believe because there's a famine, right? And he says, you're really pretty, right? You're pretty, girl. No, I probably didn't say it like that. But I'm positive he didn't say it like that. But
he also probably didn't just say, you're very pretty.
He says, right, I know that I see that you're a very beautiful woman. So there's actually some really interesting stuff that it says over here. Number one, we see by all the imahis, by the
matriarchs.
Yeah, by Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, that it says that they were beautiful. Right? It says they were either Yefais Mare or Yefei Torah, right? It says that they were physically beautiful, which is interesting. And even Leah, a lot of people interpret that the fact that it says her eye later on in the Parshah, it says, not in this Parshah, in another Parshah, it says Leah's eyes were soft. So a lot of people say that means her eyes were dull, but the Rashbam actually says that it means that they were beautiful, right? Like soft, like
gentle, kind.
Like a tender,
kind eyes.
Exactly. Now here's actually, Ilya. I was actually going to mention this because I hope Ilya ends up seeing this. If he doesn't, I'm going to show it to him. No, because the whole reason why this whole show started, guys, this show started because of Ilya. And his first question that I remember him asking was exactly this. Why? One of the things that Avram said is, don't tell them you're my sister. Sorry, don't tell them you're my wife. Tell them you're my sister, because then they'll give me gifts. Right? One of the reasons was because he was afraid they would kill him. But he says it says clearly in the pasuk because then they'll act good to me and they'll give me gifts. So the question is, Ilya's question was, what kind of he was going to put his wife through all of that just to get some gifts? Doesn't make any sense. Makes sense if he's scared for his life, but the question that's asked is over here is also that you're not supposed to really take gifts. Not like it says that it's a very high quality. Now you're not supposed to take gifts. It's a good quality in Tzaddikim was that they wouldn't accept gifts from people. They didn't take things from other people. The question is, why did Avram Avinu here show the opposite, the willingness and the desire to have gifts? So the thing is that in Mitzrayim, who were they? They were Avodah Zarah. They were people who didn't serve Hashem, didn't live the proper way. So by him Avram Avinu, his job was refining this world. So by getting things from the Mitzvah, he would actually take it out of the domain of people who were idol worshippers, of impurity, and be able to use it for godliness.
Wow.
So in that case, it was actually a very noble and holy mission. All right. Another thing that it says, that Rabbi Yonasan Eifshitz says this, is that it was known that the kings from many, many years ago, thousands of years ago, one of the things that they would do is they would take their wives with them to war, But in order that no one would, desire their wife, they would put things on them to make them look not so pretty. So they would make their skin very, very dark, and just so that that no one should. And then when they went home, they would, clean it off, whatever. Now this is not. I don't need anyone's, cry. They were fair. Had a certain beauty. They would do something to take away the beauty to a degree. That's very as simple as that. So it says that Avram Avinu obviously was aware of this trick, and it says it's possible that he did this. But nevertheless, no matter how much she tried to hide her beauty, because she was such a beautiful person, and because she had the ruach of kedusha on her, it shone through any type of disguise, and everyone who saw her right away saw that she was an exceptionally beautiful woman, and that even showed it physically. So it just shows, how special that is. I know this is actually this is a very interesting fact. It actually ties into a bunch of stuff later in the Parsha, which is really cool. We'll talk about it in length, hopefully, God willing, in a future, in the future Parshas. I think it's Parshas Miketz or Vayigash. Well, I guess it's Vayigash because that's one. Well, we'll see. Can you do me a favor? Can you post that's going on?
It's over there.
Huh?
We're live. It's over there and we're live.
I know, I'm just saying, yeah.
Okay.
Whatever. Yeah. Sorry, just doing some PR. So your mom is running late today. Okay, so the Chassam Sefer says, in the name of the Ramban, that Sarah actually was in. I have a comment, but I think there's more to come. So 1 second. It says that Sarah. The Chassam Sefer says that Sarah was a queen in Mitzrayim. What? Sarah was a queen in Mitzrayim, and that she was there. According to the Ramban, apparently it was actually 6 months there. So Pari made her a queen. So she had the status of royalty. And it also says that in general she had the status of a queen, especially because it says later in the Parsha that when Avram Avinu beat the kings, all the rulers came together and crowned Abraham as their king. So for multiple reasons,
wow.
Yeah. So for multiple reasons, Sarah was considered a queen. And Railroad Barber says it's even possible that Abraham was a second in command, like he was a Mishnah Melech.
Wow.
And this actually makes sense. Why? Why does it make sense that all this that this is the case, that she was a queen in Mitzrayim? Because Yosef was made into the Mishnah Melech. He was made to literally be the second in command to the king. Nobody in Mitzrayim was more important than him other than the king. The problem with that is that they only accepted people from the royal family to do that, people with royalty. So how could Yosef even be in that conversation? But according to this, it makes sense. Because they knew, all the Mitzrayim knew that Yosef's great-grandmother was a queen in Mitzrayim. So therefore, he already was royalty.
Wow.
How
I did
crazy
not know
is
that.
Isn't that crazy?
That's really crazy.
Yeah. Now, and later on, we're going to see actually that's also Yehuda's claim. Not this show, but soon, we're going to see that was actually Yehuda's claim to Yosef. He said, "I'm also royalty, so I should be able to speak to Pari also." Because again, everybody knew that the family of Yaakov came from royalty in Egypt itself.
That's wild.
Yeah. Now, so what does it say? That Avram Avinu eventually ended up in Hebron, right? Now, talking about Hebron and Avram Avinu, there's an incredible story of Avraham Avinu and a minyan in Hebron. So listen to this. Go like this. Okay, so first of all, we're going to go to the comments. I'm just going to show a certain comment. Okay, so was Avram able to be Mevar things before Matan Torah? So that's a good question.
He's talking about the slugs?
Yeah, meaning there's an idea of there's godliness in this world. It's hidden because this world seems to be something that's independent of godliness, and our job is to be Mevar them. So I believe that there was an Indian of Birur, maybe not the same way of after Matan Torah, but to be honest, it was very, very short the way that it was described about why Avraham accepted the guests, and I expanded on it. So maybe birur is the wrong word, but definitely to be used for godliness versus to be used for idol worship. That was definitely that's definitely what was said inside. But anyway, thank you for that question. Okay. Okay, so here's a story, beautiful story. There's a shul in Hebron that's called the Beis Knesset Avram Avinu, the shul of Avram Avinu. The question is what? So here's the story. There was certain times in Hebron where there were not a lot of Jews who lived there. Sometimes it was a very small community, to the point where they didn't get a minyan every single day. And only on Shabbos and Yom Tov, they had people coming from nearby villages to come and have 10 people for a minyan. Now, one time, it was by Yom Kippur, and there were only 9 people. And all the people who normally came for the minyan from nearby villages, they were this year they went to Yerushalayim for whatever reason. And it's already getting late. It's only very, very soon, close to when the sun is setting down. And they realize they're gonna have to have Yom Kippur without a minyan. And they're really, really bothered them. They're very special people who live in Hebron then. And they waited, nobody's coming. All of a sudden, and no matter how much they look, they couldn't find someone. All of a sudden, they see some old man coming from the distance, and they're so happy. They go towards him. They give him a lot of honor, and they say, "Did you have him Susam Sekes? He's traveling, so he probably didn't even eat Susam Sekes." He gave them a bracha and said, "No, I already ate." So I already have him Susam Sekes. And so they gave him a lot of respect, and they davened Yom Kippur, and they were very happy they were able to daven with a minyan. And once Yom Kippur was over, so they wanted to. They obviously wanted to have him over. Who gets the big schus to have him as a guest? So they made a raffle, a lottery, and it fell on the chazan. The chazan was actually a very holy man. He actually would often get dreams where he would get certain, messages from heaven, or he would get in his dreams, and so he won. And so they walk home, and as he's about to go into his house, he turns around to allow his guest to come inside the house. First, he turns around, and he's gone. And he goes looking around everywhere, every corner he could, looking around, and he can't find him. He was so hurt, and the whole community was upset about this because they thought that for some reason this person didn't want to have benefit from them. And they took that as like, maybe there's a problem, maybe we were not worthy. But that night, the old man came to the dream of the chazan, and he said that he's Avram Avinu. And because of the great tzar that they were in, because of how much it bothered them, how much it matters them to have a minyan, he couldn't let them be without a minyan. This is in Hebron, where Avram Avinu, right, or Parshas Lech Lecha, where Avram Avinu's resting place is. And
wow.
And so he wanted to come and do the minyan. And what?
Incredible.
And they were so happy that they had this chus to have Avram Avinu. So that's why it's called the Shul Avram Avinu. This story was brought down by the Emek HaMelech. The Emek HaMelech was actually a student of the Shalah, he ended up going to Tzfas and actually studying Kabbalah from the students of the Arizal. Yeah, his name was Reb Naftali Hertz. Anyway, just
He's called Emek.
What?
Why did he have that name?
Emek HaMelech is the name of his sefer.
Oh, all right. I think you mentioned that another week.
Yeah, I have mentioned
Maybe
it
the first week.
that we did it.
Yeah, you
Could
said
be.
Baal or something.
There was a few. Well, I always mention it far, but yeah.
No, I asked you.
I don't know if
why.
it was him. Yeah, I don't know if it was him. I'm not sure.
I asked you at the time. I asked
Why
you.
is he called Baal? Who's the Baal?
Right, and you said it was a different name.
I don't think it was him, but it could be.
I'm not saying it was him.
Oh yeah, that's the name of his sefer.
I'm saying at that time it was that, and this time it's this.
Oh, I thought you were asking if it was the same person. Okay.
I was just drawing a similarity.
Comparison. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. 100%. Like the Balatanya, right? People call Al-Teb the Balatanya because he is the author of the Tanya. Okay. So now that we're mentioning this, so of Avraham Avinu, that he came and revealed himself, we can also mention. Look who joined us. Welcome.
What an honor to have you.
Yeah, amazing. So you came just in time for some juicy stuff. So the Chassam Sefer also had something like this. Well, a student of the Chassam Sefer had something similar, where the Chassam Sefer had already passed on to the next world, and one of his students, by the name of Rabbi Yochanan Glazer, I believe, came to do Tikkun Chatzais. Tikkun Chatzais is something which a lot of holy men did, where every night they would wake up in the middle of at midnight, halachically midnight, and basically it's a whole seder of mourning the Beis Hamikdash and crying out for the rebuilding of the Beis Hamikdash. And so he would do this every night, and one night he comes to do it, and he sees his Rebbe sitting in his regular spot, and he became very scared, So now the question is, in the case of Avraham Avinu, how could Avraham Avinu help them with the minyan? Right? He passed away, but people who are passing away, it says that they're not chayav in mitzvahs. So the truth is that we see with even Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi, that even after he passed away, and I've mentioned this story, and I want to say it again because I got it wrong, got the details wrong. Some of it was the details. The main thing was true, but
when did you mention it?
A few times actually in the
Parshah show.
Yeah, in a Parshah show.
Really?
Because actually this author brings down many times the idea that there are people who came, and there's a story about Ezra HaSefer. He came down and he actually edited his own Sefer Torah, and the same question arises: how could somebody edit a Sefer Torah when he's not chayav mitzvahs? So. And we see that Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi would actually come every Friday night and make kiddush for his family. And there's also Rabbi Yossi Aglili. It says that he continued to make Havdalah. His wife would prepare Havdalah, and he came even after he passed away, and he would come and honor her with doing Havdalah for her. But Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi, what I got wrong in the story was he would come every single night, and then one time, one of the neighbors came, and she was talking, and one of the maidservants said, "Hey, Rabbi Yehuda is here. He's making kiddush," something like that, and you can't, you have to be quiet, right? No, she was making noise. She says, Rabbi Yehuda is here. You have to.
She was able to see him as well. Everyone saw him.
I think you were able to see him.
That's crazy.
So once it became known and it was becoming publicized, Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi didn't want to do it because he didn't want people to start saying, "Oh, you see, Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi is a real tzaddik." Other tzaddikim couldn't come and make kiddush for their families, and it would kind of cast a shadow on them. And can you believe, in order for people not to speak like that about other tzaddikim, he said, I can't come anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's also a beautiful story.
Right.
It's such a beautiful reason, yeah.
It's out of his family.
Right.
But that's crazy to have your husband come.
Right. So the answer simply is, right, all these questions, all these things you see, Kiddush, Havdalah, Minyan, editing a Sefer Torah, the thing is that by tzaddikim, even after their passing, they're considered alive, because since their whole life is mainly spirituality and not physicality, so therefore their life actually is just a continuation of their life afterwards. There never really was a departure. There was a departure from the body. The body was anyways, by the way, it was a secondary part of them. So therefore, they're actually okay. They can do mitzvahs and all that. Now, here we're going to talk about a really interesting idea. How a person, here, let's see, was Rebbe's wife still an Ashes Ish? Mendy, I think you asked me this before. Let's highlight this. My brother has the best questions. So what the question here is for anybody who's not recognizing the Hebrew is that the question is, what if Rebbe, you could say, has the status of somebody who is still alive, then is his wife considered a married woman? Can she remarry? So I would imagine that halachically things are a little bit different, because the halacha goes based on what's in this world and what's, but and it doesn't necessarily reflect that reality of tzaddikim, never really being considered dead. But I don't even think it's really relevant, because how many wives of tzaddikim have we seen who remarried after their husband passed away? It's an interesting idea. Like has it practically happened? But
I think it's definitely something to look into. It's
an interesting question. I don't think it's, if halachically he can do a minyan, be part of the minyan, do all these things, so then is he halachically still is his bound? Is his wife still halachically bound to him? It's an interesting question. Okay. Well, I don't know. So, but it's an interesting question.
Maybe we should challenge him to look it up.
Now, in Me'am Loyes,
you heard what I said.
Say what again? Yeah.
Maybe we should challenge Mendy to look it up before next week.
Should challenge Mendy. Yeah.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah, Mendy, you do your own homework. How about that? Good idea.
He's gonna come back complaining to me.
Yeah, so we're gonna bring down something from Me'am Loyes. It's been a while since I opened the Me'am Loyes. It's an incredible sefer, but I normally use the Eitzer Place Torah. But the Eitzer Place Torah mentioned the Me'am Loyes, so I just went straight to the Me'am Loyes. So the Me'am Loyes talks about what happened with the war, right? We know, people who grew up with Parshah, that the four kings were shooting their arrows and their spears and all their stuff on Avram Avinu, and it didn't touch him, it didn't hurt him, nothing happened. And then he threw back sand, and the sand turned into all this ammunition. I think some people learned that the weapons turned into sand, but here he's saying that it was, there's another explanation, perhaps, that the reason they died was because of their own imagination, meaning they convinced themselves the sand was this crazy type of sand. Now here's a story that he brings before he explains it. He brings a story, before he explains what he's saying, he brings a story of the Rambam, which I read many times. If anybody here read The Storyteller, if I remember, I'll put a link in the description for where you can buy The Storyteller. It's 5 volumes of stories upon stories, beautiful stories. But it brings the story of the Rambam, and it brings it very, very differently. This is the first time I heard this version of the story, but it's from Me'am Loyes. It's probably more reliable. So the story goes like this. We know that the Rambam had many enemies, right? He had many enemies in the court of... You have any comment?
No.
No, you're making...
No, I'm listening.
Okay. No, so he had many enemies because he was a really smart guy.
Are you switching it?
What? Switching what?
Are you going to put it on that one again?
Why?
Because that's what you did a minute ago.
Leave the cameras to me.
Okay.
No, stop. So, the Rambam had many enemies because of he always had good standing with the king. He was a very good doctor, and he was very smart, and he was a very good person. So people naturally loved him. And I believe this took place when he was in Mitzrayim. I'm not 100% sure, because he went from Spain to Morocco to Mitzrayim. I don't know if there's things in between, but so anyway, this sultan, there was another doctor who really didn't like the Rambam, and he said to the king like this: "You know what? I think that I am a better doctor than the Rambam."
The sultan was also a doctor, or it's 2 different people?
No,
Or the Sultan was the king?
no, the Sultan is a king.
Oh, it's the term for a king in that place?
I believe so. Maybe I'm
Like a pharaoh? And
well. That time, Egypt, there was no more pharaohs, but
so it was then sultans
I
instead?
got Sultan, king, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's the ruler,
Okay.
the number one,
And then a doctor, and then the
the
Ram.
number one guy. So he said like this: we should do a test. We're both going to create a poison, and we both have to drink each other's poison, and whoever survives is he's the one who should be serving the king, and whoever isn't, Now it says the king felt like he didn't have any choice over here because it made sense. I don't know how these people thought.
Well,
It's very weird. Now the king could have just said no. Like, what kind of stupid, dumb idea is that?
Well, it's probably some sort of manipulation, political.
Whatever. I guess somehow he spun it in a way where it was like for the honor of the king and for the safety of the king and who knows whatever it is. But he ends up. The Rambam agrees, and the Rambam actually says to the other doctor, "You can go first. I'll drink your poison first." And he told his students that there is something that can be prepared, that when a person swallows it, it makes him throw everything up. And he told them to have it ready. So when he drinks the poison, they'll give it to him. So this doctor goes and literally takes every single poison known to him, known to man, that was known in Mitzrayim, and puts it in one vial. Imagine like the deadliest stuff. And they go and they give it to the Rambam. The Rambam drinks it. And it says his face darkened, his skin became darker, and his tongue dried up. It was burning. And you're talking about like the worst poisons, right?
Mixed concoction.
And right away, his students take him home. They give him this concoction. He throws everything up, and he eventually gets up like nothing happened.
Wow.
Now, the next day, the Rambam comes, and the Rambam prepared, he said he prepared like this sweet, something that they used to give to the king, a very sweet flower or plant, whatever it was, that, and he made it, and he acted as if this was poison. And he comes with the container, and he brought someone from prison who was already sentenced to death, meaning he was already supposed to die. And he basically made this whole show. And this is the part which I never heard before. Even the part that the Rambam got sick, I never heard.
Really?
It's a whole nother version that I heard. And Mendy, I think you heard the story also, or Burstyn tapes. Whoever heard of Burstyn tapes also? I don't know who here may have
nostalgia.
But he also says a story radically differently. But this is why it's so interesting for me. But so he comes and he makes this whole show. He tells the king, he brings he has a handkerchief, he closes his nose, and he tells
Who's he?
Sorry, the Rambam brings this alleged, supposed poison in the container, and he tells the king, he covers his nose with a handkerchief, and he tells the king to do the same, and he says to go far away, and he tells the person who's anyways going to pass away, he's already sentenced to death, that he's going to open it up. And it says that he opens it up, this convict, this guy on death row, and he, boom, falls dead at that second. And then Rambam takes, now this doctor is so scared because he sees it. Imagine if somebody just smells it and he dies. Imagine what's going to happen just from the fumes. Imagine what's going to happen if I actually drink it. So then the Rambam goes and offers it to the king. He takes a spoon, puts it in the spoon, offers it to the king. The king says, you might have survived, and it says this in the Sefer actually, you might have survived the poison, but I think it messed you up because you're offering the king poison that just killed somebody else. So the Rambam says, no, this is not poison. I literally took this from this known plant in Mitzrayim, whatever it was. I literally took it from there, and I just this shows the power of imagination. Now, according to this story, and the king, and he finally was able to convince the king to drink it, and nothing happened to him. And the other, now this version of the story, the other doctor doesn't die. In the version of the story that I grew up with, the other doctor actually dies.
Oh.
But I guess in this case, the Rambam didn't want somebody who was
his enemy.
No, he didn't want someone to die for no reason. The other person,
he was on death.
He was going to die. Also, I don't know if the Rambam knew he was going to die, but the point is, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't explain a lot. I would love to hear more of an explanation exactly what happened, because it seems that the same thing that could have happened to anybody else happened to him. That his imagination, because he thought that this was so deadly, because the Rambam said, "Go far away and don't smell it," that this convinced the person that this was deadly, and therefore he died.
That's imagination, or that's...
Well, there are many stories of people who thought...
psychologically, when you convince yourself of something.
Yeah, people who thought they were stuck in a refrigerator, and there's a story. I think I heard a story of someone who thought they were stuck in a refrigerator, and they died, and it wasn't really a refrigerator or something like that. Like a walk-in refrigerator, or maybe it wasn't so cold. Whatever the case is, the power of the mind is very, very, very strong.
Right.
And so, anyways, so the Bialkot Emlois bring this story to explain that an explanation for what happened here is with the four kings and how they died was because when they saw that their weapons weren't doing anything to Avraham, and they saw him throwing sand, they thought that this was some special substance. This sand substance that looks like sand that was actually poisonous and very, very deadly, and therefore, just by smelling it, they died.
The sand?
Yeah. Just by being exposed to it, they died because they told themselves a story that,
you create your reality.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. It's like mind games.
Yeah, so...
in the Torah.
Well, it just shows the importance of the state of mind, and that also goes to show. I wanted to just bring this up, but 1 second before I go forward. I just want to show the story. I thought it sounded different than that version. So, Mendy, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm saying
which version?
This story sounds different than the version we know as a kid. I don't know which what you remember from the story, but anyway, guys, it's so cool you get to be privy to from bringing with my brother. But anyway. So now this is why also state of mind is so important nowadays. We right now what's happening in Eretz Yisrael is a very scary thing, and we can either allow it to consume us and hold us back, or we can look at it in a totally different way and see the beauty of the Jewish people coming together and coming closer to Hashem and strengthen ourselves. There's no place for panic or fear, and the mind is ultimately what
controls that.
Is in control. Poisons and stronger poisons. Yeah. Okay. So the version that we heard as kids was that they had poisons. That basically they were supposed to do is each was supposed to create the strongest poison. So when one person, and they're supposed to drink the other person's poison first. So if their poison is the strongest, then their poison will cancel out the weaker one, because that's what happens. Someone drinks poison, then the stronger one will cancel out the weaker one, and then they'll be fine. But that seems to not be the case. At least that's not what the Me'amleah says it was. I just want to see if there's anything else over here. Okay, so I just want to say, the original, the thumbnail over here was talking about Eretz Yisrael. So I already mentioned what many people, you probably saw it all over social media if you're present on social media, is that very simply the Parsha literally talks about why Eretz Yisrael belongs to the Jewish people, and then Noach mentions Hamas, right? That it's violence. And this Parsha, I just wanted to mention the idea that one of the things in this Parsha speaks about how light was captured.
Parshas Lecha.
In Parshas Lech Lecha, yes. It talks about how light was captured. Now, think about this. Light, but and Avram Avinu finds out he was captured, and Avram Avinu right away goes to free the captive. Right? There's a kidnapping. Avram Avinu goes to free his family.
Was he his nephew? Light?
Yes, Light was his nephew, and I believe he was his nephew. And he goes to free him, even though he's up against a formidable enemy. And obviously Hashem had his back and Hashem has our back, and we see that although there's so many people who are supporting the darkness and the evil, unfortunately, and it's so scary to see, but we know that when we do the right thing and we stand together with each other, that Hashem will help us. And it's a very powerful message from the Parsha.
Those people who are so-called standing, they just don't know what they're doing. They're confused. Or they're, what's it called? A child? Not innocent. What's the terminology for like a child that doesn't, Sheina Yodea? Like,
what do you mean?
Just doesn't know they just don't know any better. They're just so uninformed of the reality.
People believe what they want to believe,
Or they don't use their brain to do their own research.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not so, what's the word? I'm not so, I don't give so much benefit of the doubt. I'm not so trusting exactly. But, so we have a confirmation that Light was Avram's nephew.
Thank you.
I'm forgetting there was more in this parsha. Guys, forgive me for a second. I have this right here. I actually underlined it because I thought it was incredible. What does Rashi say over here? And again, this is not said anywhere. I was just drawing some. It says that Ma'aseh Avi Simla Banim, that everything that.
What is the Chayinu?
Yeah, I'm here. So I have the Chayinu over here, where I learned my chitas from, and I was learning Chumash Rashi today. And I underlined the part of the Rashi because I just thought it was, I was just mentioning, it says Ma'aseh Avi Simla Banim, that whatever happened in the past to our forefathers is a simon, is a sign for what's to come. And we've seen that there's so much similarity between what's going on and the Parsha. There's so much connection. So here we go. So what happens? So number one, many people are mentioning they don't know what to do because we're so far away and we're not on the front lines. And here it says that what happens, that when the king of Sodom wanted to reward Abraham himself didn't take anything. But he said, whoever came to war with me, give them, because they gave them food to eat, and he gave them, different things. But he said also those who were sitting and taking care of the equipment, they weren't on the front lines, but those who were taking care, they also are considered to be part of this. And so we are doing things in our own way, and this is, Rashi, and again, nobody says this. I just saw this similarity, and I thought it was such a beautiful, connection. That there are many, many ways to be part of this, not only in the front lines, and we're doing our parts, whether it's by, going out and helping other Jews do mitzvahs, adding in Torah mitzvahs ourselves, sending over equipment. We're talking about the equipment of war. We're the ones who are supplying it in, all our own way. The vest, everything, vests, tzitzis, all these different things.
Helmets, yeah, everything.
And then what's incredible afterwards is that Avraham Avinu was scared. He was afraid that maybe he doesn't have any more merits. And one of the things was that because he thought that perhaps maybe it's possible that the reason why he was able to win the kings wasn't just because they were evil, but maybe it was for a different reason, and maybe he had killed innocent people, or or maybe he was wrong for going and waging war against them to free Light. And what does Rashi say? Right? You will not be punished for those people you have killed. And Hashem supported Abraham's choice. Hashem said, no, you are right. You are right to go and wage war to defend and to bring back the captive who is Light. And that's the same exact thing that we're seeing here. That so many people are saying, and it's so messed up. And I'm going to say the word retarded. You guys have lost your mind. I don't know why I'm saying you guys, because I don't think any.
No one watching.
I don't think any of them are on this video. But in case they are, and they afterwards are going to put a flag. I just want to say, but we just watched this thing. It's actually one of my friends. He said for every Palestinian flag that is just put on my videos indiscriminately, just as a, I'm going to put up a flag of Palestine, we're going to donate $1 to the IDF.
And then he donated
and he started counting them as like it went into the hundreds, 100 or more than, I don't know.
150.
$150
that he donated.
Right, but I totally lost my track.
Saying about the captives.
Right.
Avram being correct to release and on the way.
Right. So
kill some.
Right. So the fact that there are people who are even thinking of telling Israel show restraint, it's like it's mind-boggling. Just shows the blatant anti-Semitism. But we see here Rashi says, and again, I hope that I'm not chas v'shalom using Rashi, for my own benefit. I really do see this beautiful connection. How Hashem assures Avram, who was the forefather of all the Jewish people, and as we know that Avram was considered the first Jew, even though he wasn't a Matan Torah, but in spirit, right? Already Avram Avinu had access to the Torah, and we know, right? Avram Avinu was one of the first Jew, Ivri, right? Avram Ivri, and until today there are places where the Yidden are called Hebrew, right? Russian, you say Hebraika,
Which Rashi on which pasuk is this?
This is pasuk. Al tir Avram. It says, "Do not fear Avraham." Perek Tesvav pasuk Aleph. It says after this, Hashem shows Himself to Avram. We'll read the whole pasuk. Achar dvarim eila hayad dvar Hashem al Avram machzor lemar. Al tir Avram. Do not fear Avram. Anechi yinagim l'cha. I will be a shield to you, schar charbim eid, and your reward will be very great. It's another thing. I was watching from Rabbi Paltil. He said that a soldier who's protecting Eretz Yisrael in Hashem's eyes is a perfect tzaddik. It doesn't matter what he did yesterday, what level he's on. You're protecting Jewish lives. You're a perfect tzaddik in Hashem's eyes. So, once again, we see exactly here that don't be afraid. Hashem is guarding you, and your reward is great, right? Because you saved Jewish lives, you're protecting Jewish lives. So, such a beautiful, beautiful thing over here. That's what I wanted to end off on, and to show the direct, beautiful connection. I really believe that this is appropriate. I don't think that's too far of a stretch to say. And I would love if somebody here...
It's literally from the Parshah.
Yeah, and I would literally love to see, if anybody's watching this and sees any source, whether it's in the Sichos of the Rebbe or anywhere else in Torah, during previous wars when the Rebbe was revealed to us. And so if somebody can show me that, I would love to see it, because it would make me very happy.
See what?
That there's something along the same lines of explaining this Rashi and translating it to modern times.
Or like a Rashi Sicha or something?
Yeah, Sicha, or maybe...
I saw a video this week. I don't know if it was a Sicha, it was the Rebbe talking.
Yeah.
And he says that when your enemy comes to kill you, you don't wait to pass resolutions in the UN and through Congress and this and that. You go and you fight back.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Ferish halacha that someone who's coming to kill you, so hashkem lahargai. If you know someone's coming to kill you, someone's even planning on killing you, you're supposed to hashkem. Hashkem
Right, you get up earlier.
It needs to be early. It needs to be like extra early, meaning you have to be preemptive. Don't wait until something happens. No, you go and you strike first. You don't wait. You don't care. You don't have to care about the blowback of the world and what will they say.
So today I watched a video that a Hamas leader that's in Qatar, I think, he finally broke his silence and said something, and what he said was that he wanted, I'm not saying verbatim, but basically he was saying that it's a shame on the US and the EU for not putting pressure on Israel to stop this genocide, blah, blah, blah. You know what? We're finally doing the right thing.
Chole nefesh, you guys have lost your mind. You are retarded. Sorry.
That word.
What, the word? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
No, it's not.
It might demonetize the video.
No, it's just not.
I don't know. They have such. No, I'm saying, those are the only people I would use it for. People who could support such a thing. You guys have lost your absolute minds.
I think we should mention that this is all B'schos.
Yes. Right now, all the mitzvahs that we do, all the things that we do, including this year, is in the merit that this war end swiftly, that we have every single captive returned to us, and we should see the miracles
Healthily.
that Avram Avinu saw. That were from Avram Avinu, we should have open miracles happen for us, and Hashem should return our family back home. We should see Mashiach very soon.
Immediately.
Yes, and immediately, and Hashem should protect all the Jewish people around the world. People, don't be afraid. Stand tall. Stand tall. Don't be afraid.
I'm proud.
Yes, stand tall and proud. Don't be afraid of your Jewishness. That's what they want. They want us to cower and be in fear. And we're going to show them that no, we're not afraid. You are nothing. Darkness is but the absence of light.
So we're going to fill it with more light.
That's it.
Starting tonight.
That's it.
And last week. And the week before. You know, there's a chazaka.
I know.
Ilya needs to come back. Ilya, we need you.
It's three times at home. I don't know about this.
We need Ilya.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you so much, everybody who's here.
Have a great night.
Have a beautiful Shabbos. May we hear good news. And smash the like button, subscribe, share this with your friends if you think it will provide value. And I will be putting a link to my what?
We hope.
We hope.
This video. How do you say that?
Oh, we hope you found this video informative
and entertaining.
Yes, and entertaining. And we're going to put a link to the Patreon at the bottom as well. I will try to also put, again, Patreon. That's where you can support with a small amount monthly the work. It's a lot of hours that go into this, and it really would help.
Support all the incredible work.
Yeah.
That my husband does.
Thank you. I feel very supported right now. And the last thing I wanted to say is, so one of the things we can do for Eretz Yisrael is to do a mitzvah. And there is, I'm going to put at least one link, maybe more if I could think of more, where I think it's do a mitzvah for Israel, or Chabad.org mitzvah for Israel. I think I'm going to put that in the description, hopefully soon, and you'll be able to see it and click on it. Maybe by the time you're watching this, it'll already be under there. And click, go check it out. Take on a mitzvah for Eretz Yisrael, because this is all things that happen in this world are really spiritually driven. And when we do our job spiritually, we can change the course of this, physically, and we can save lives, and we can bring more light into this world and change the reality. So you go, guys. Check that out, and thank you for joining. Thank you for being here, and we love you. If you made it to the end, you're an absolute legend. Stay real, and remember, pray hard.
Play hard.
I like it.
Good night.